Alrighty guys, this is Chase Strider, C Stride here, and I haven't done a video in a while, and I've known that. But we're still here because we're gonna go over a deck profile for Digimon. My black deck, which I personally just used like a while ago, but not a while ago, but yesterday, in fact, in a little tournament at my local shop. Um, So I know it's pretty sacrilege. Kind of have a I have a Vanguard mat here, but it's fine. All right, Digimon's not even officially out yet. I don't have a Digimon mat, so we're gonna be using a Vanguard mat for right now. So in order to start us off, we're playing the one of Sunemon, and we're also doing 4 Kapurimon. This is pretty standard in every black deck because you don't really want to run anything else. And in the long run, Kapurimon does so little because like most of your things like you already hit over like their Digimon. The only thing that your Digimon would never hit over is like an Omnimon or something. Like, a level 7. Like, but that doesn't really matter because in the long run, having a Kapurimon or a Sunemon doesn't really matter. We just need to run 5 eggs, but we still run the Kapurimon because it's the better choice over the Sunemon in this black build, because in different black builds like the Diaboromon build, you will be running the Sunemon instead. But in this build, we're running the 4 Kapurimon and 4 Sunemon. Alright, so for the rookies, like not the rookies, my tamers, since I'm starting from the bottom to the top, we do a 2-tie. This card, it's very important in the deck because after testing it, this card saves you more often than not. Mainly because other people's megas are also like 10, 11k, and since your megas are also like 11k, like Machinedramon, Wargreymon, they're 11k, and they're your biggest blockers. So if you block with them, it's just gonna trade off. But if you have a tie, those blockers get an extra 1,000, so they'll be 12,000, and your opponent's megas are gonna be 11,000. So it adds that pressure that they can't swing unless they wanna get rid of them, and like having the second one there is just for the added benefit of being good, because then with your rookie blocker Gotzeman, your Gotzeman would then be able to block any of their rookies and still survive. So having a tie here is actually very, very helpful, and that's why it's also not that bad for you to cast another one, because then that on another 1000 DP is gonna help you even more. So that's why we run 2-tie, because you need to activate it as soon as possible. Next, we do run an option card, and that's 2 Infinity Cannon. A lot of people might disagree with me on running option cards at all in a black deck because they feel it might be bricky. But it's actually not that bricky because these are the only 2 we run. So like if you personally don't want to run options, then I would recommend running 4-tie because you want to see it as soon as possible. That's what I'm also probably thinking of when Craniumon comes out. I'm gonna be taking off these Infinity Cannons so I could add 2 more tie-in. But for right now, since Craniumon is not here, this is our only real way to like get rid of like their monsters, because we don't have no protection whatsoever. Like if we're going up against purple, with their retaliation, with their trump sword, or going up against blue and red, their Omnimon could just pop them things, like our Wargreymon or Machinedramon, and it'll be over. But like there's no real way to get rid of their megas for black because black has no removal whatsoever. Except for Millenniumon, which we do run, but you're not gonna go into it all the time. You probably only will go into it once or twice because I've tested it multiple times. But having this just digivolves their Omnimon, their Mega, maybe like a Metagurumon, for blue. That's pretty popular right now. Or maybe just their red Wargreymon. you could just get rid of it, trash their top sources, and it's gone just like that. This really saves me against the Omnimon matchup because this is the only way to get rid of it other than Millenniummon. So trust me, this is gonna save you more times than not. Next, we start off with our rookies. Two Gotzeman, not Gotzeman, two Chumon. I'm sorry. Chumon is actually very OP, and he single-handedly carried me in a blue matchup. Because if you see him early on, then it's basically, puts the blue player in a very bad situation. Because blue, like especially blue, um, the only way to get rid of him is because you just leave him there. You place him down and you just leave him there. All right, because as long as you don't swing with him, they won't be able to destroy him. And like his ability, all right, is all turns your opponent can't gain memory except with tamer effects. So for example, if they have like their own, tamer like tie here, that's if you have 2 memory or less, you go to 3. So unless you have something like that, then it will activate. But for example, their hammer sparks and their inheritable effects that they gain memory when they swing, that it stops that. So if they draw a hammer spark, it's a dead card in their hand, because the only way they could get rid of it, or blue could get rid of Chumon, is through Omnimon. And most of the time they're not going to want to get rid of a Chumon with their Omnimon, because it's just going to be a big waste, and they don't know if you have another one in your hand. So these Chumon really saves your, carries you in the blue matchup. So I really recommend him. Maybe you could even cut other rookies to put him at 4. Like I'll show you which rookie to cut right now in a little bit. But we run 4 Gotzeman. This is the blocker that I'm telling you guys about. That if you have a tie activated, he becomes 4k DP. And most rookies are all 3k. So when they attack with the rookie, hey, block with your Gotzeman, and like your Gotzeman lives, and you could keep stopping the rookies. So if they're playing Rookie Rush, that's it. They can't really do anything against you. So Gotzeman is just a free, 3-cost blocker. You could just splash down and leave there, and like that's the end of that. Like that's what I used it. Or sometimes where they only have 1 attack, and like you want to save your security, splash them down, and block it. It doesn't matter. Because most of the time it's just a small blocker. You want to save, your bigger blockers for like the other attacks. He's very expendable, so it's fine. Next, we play 4 Hagurumon. This is the rookie I would recommend, to switch over. Like maybe you want to take out the other 2 for the other 2 Chumon. But for right now, he's just a nice 2-cost rookie you could play. Like if you're on 1 and you don't want to give your opponent any like big memory, and they don't have like a tamer out, then like immediately put him down, put him to 1, and then you could swing with him afterwards. It's fine. That's what I use him for, just security breaking fodder. Unless you have like a blocker, then you could still do it, because especially if you have like your 2 breaker with Wargreymon, then you just swing with this, you still get a security check off, and that's all she wrote. So this is why I play 2 for Hagurumon. You could play 2 and play the other 2 Chumon. That actually won't be a bad idea if you know what you're going up against. So, but in terms of just overall, I would recommend the 4 Hagurumon. And for the last of our rookies, the man himself, Toyagumon, because his inheritable is so overpowered, it gives the Digimon reboot. Now, you don't want to underestimate reboot, because you could immediately evolve into another blocker, like the level 5 Andromon blocker. Swing with it for security checks, and like it'll stand right back up because of Toyagumon. Toyagumon is your main evolution target. You want to be evolving into him as much as you can, because the more things you have with reboot, the more chances you have to gain advantage. Because right now, black is very stally. So if you're able to attack with your blockers and defend with your blockers during your opponent's turn, that's what reboot is for. So that'll be very strong, and that's how you win mostly all your matches. So Toyagumon is going to be a staple in like many black decks to come. So make sure you get 4 of that. Now, we're going up to our champions, which is our level 4s. Gotzeman, we play 4 of. We play 12 champions. And Gotzeman, just, you know, a 7k DP blocker, 8k if you have a tie out. You know, and I want to note that the tie's effect does stack. So if you have both of them out, he's 9k. So it does stack. So that's why it's not that bad to activate, you know, multiple of them. But for him, right, he's a blocker, but he can't attack whatsoever. His only purpose is to block during your opponent's turn. But that's fine, because most of the time, if you want to, you could just play them down for the 5 cost. You know, like let's say you're at 1 or 2 memory, you know, and your opponent has a tamer out, so they're gonna go to 3 anyway. Just splash them down, you know, block their attacks, save your security. So like most of the time, I just hard cast them. But if I'm forced to, like if this is my only level 4 to evolve after Toyagumon, then I'll just go into him. It's totally fine. But most of the time you want to save him for like hard casting him and then evolving over him, because then like, especially if you have your tie out, you could literally evolve into a level 5 and then swing with it, you know, because then your opponent won't be expecting it, because the moment they read like, oh yeah, I can't attack, you know, they're like, oh yeah, this thing is just dead there, you know, just a block or whatever. But like once you evolve over it, you know, that's when they start catching on. Next, for Numemon, for one thing only. It's a 1 cost to evolve level 4. That's all you need him for. Granted, you don't want to be evolving into him many times, mainly because the last level 4 we have is the one you want to be evolving into most of the time. But if you want to give your opponent just that 1 memory, you know, have fun with that 1 memory, you could totally do it. Like Numemon is very good, especially it's 3 costs to play normally. Level 4, so you could evolve over him right away. It's very good. So that's why we play Numemon. And then for our final champion, for Greymon, for his busted inheritable ability, is during your turn, while the Digimon has reboots, it gets gemming, which means it basically auto-wins security battles. So let's say you have a level 5 over it. Like let's say you have your Toyagumon, this, and whatever level 5. Your level 5 swings, and let's say the security is an Omnimon. It will not get destroyed because the Toyagumon is giving your Digimon reboot, and since it has reboots, it has jamming, so it does not die. And then if you attack with the level 5 blocker, during your opponent's turn, stands right back up so you could block with it. That's very powerful, and that's how I won most of my games, because like having a blocker with the reboot, that's why Wargreymon is just so busted. Wargreymon, you know, like mostly Machinedramon, like you just want to hard cast them most of the time, because your opponent might not, you know, have the means to use all that memory, because more times than not, they're not going to use their entire memory. They're just going to end up passing it, and you're going to go, you know, start with 3 memory anyway. So that's why, like, for a black deck, like, you don't mind hard casting things, because it doesn't put you at a disadvantage, really. As long as, like, you have blockers, you're going to be totally fine. Starting off with the level 5s, we have 2 of these, mainly because I run 10 level 5s, and I did try 8 and 9, and I like really got bricky because I couldn't evolve into a level 5. So having these extra 2 to make it 10 level 5s is actually very crucial, because without these 2, like, I won't be able to go into my megas. Like, you need to see a level 5 like instantly, because I feel like 9 or 10 is a good number for ultimates to have. So this is why we play. And plus he's 6 cost 9,000 meter, so you could go ham. It's actually pretty cheap. So It's not that bad. Alright, so this is the guy I was talking earlier about. Andromon. He's just a blocker with 7 KDP. So you could literally be swinging with him. As long as he has reboot and he has the Greymon for jamming, just keep swinging. And then he restands because of reboot during your opponent's turn, and you could block with him. Especially if you have tie out. He's 8k base, so he's gonna be stopping a lot of attacks on his own. So this guy is very, very good. You know, like if you force to evolve into him while you have a Wargreymon, a Greymon and a Toyagumon in play in that evolution line, evolve into this guy, you'll be totally fine. Then you could evolve into Wargreymon afterwards, which is totally fine. Or Machinedramon if you like, whichever, you fancy, it's totally cool. Next, your main target, if you have Toyagumon and Greymon, you want to go into Metal Greymon. This guy has a reboot on his own and his inheritable. If you have reboot, you get security attack +1. So again, you'll break an additional shield. And let's say you're forced to evolve into Machinedramon. Your Machinedramon has reboot because of Toyagumon. It will have jamming because of Greymon, and it will have security attack +1 because of Metal Greymon. And because it has reboot, it will restand during your opponent's turn. You could swing without any problem whatsoever. You'll be totally fine. This is the main guy you want to, ride into. And it's pretty straightforward. Black is pretty straightforward, and that's where like people are able to beat it. But if you could outsmart them here and there, the match is yours. It's really not that bad. Next, onto our megas. We play 2 High Andromon. Mainly because it's a 2 cost to evolve vanilla, and I usually evolve into him whenever I want to go into Millenniumon, which you'll see in a bit. So like you evolve into him and then you put Millenniumon over him, because you don't really want to evolve over a Machinedramon or Wargreymon, because then you'll just lose that blocker. So like mostly he's here just so you could evolve into him for a Millenniumon. So this guy's very good, and plus if he's in your security, he'll literally kill almost anything. So it's not that bad. Like 2, you could play more of him if you want, but I'm sticking with 2. Next, we play 3 Machinedramon. I am personally gonna put them down to 2. After like testing them and stuff, 3 is a bit too much because we are playing 3 Wargreymon also. So I was, after seeing all of that, like I thought this was a pretty decent split for megas, but it's not. I'll personally go for the 4th Wargreymon and having 2 Machinedramon, because Machinedramon is still very good. You still want them in the deck, mainly because currently there is no way for us to deal with Omnimon or a very strong mega without him, Infinity Cannon, and Millenniumon. Those are your only outs, your only answers to those cards. So that's why still having this guy, Machinedramon, is still very good. But like, this is how I have it currently, 3 and 3. It's gonna be a 4-2 split. So just so you guys know. So that rounds off the level 6s. And our final card in the deck is 2 Millenniumon. Because he literally auto. So when Digivolving, return 1 of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. And since there is no shuffling currently in Digimon, it's basically gone for the rest of the game. So evolving into him, it's your other out to Omnimon. Get rid of their Omnimon, get rid of their very powerful level 6 mega. It's very, very good. And also, if I didn't mention, the reason why Wargreymon is very, very good is because on its own, he has reboot and blocker. So you attack with him during your turn, he restands by himself, and you block with him during your opponent's turn. And for Machinedramon, it's when you unplay him, so you gotta pay the 12 cost. You de-digivolve 2 on 2 of your opponent's Digimon, so you could choose like an Omnimon or something else. But that's it for the deck profile. And I'll see you guys next time.